Howdy, I'm WolfX2, and this is my review of the Hell Let Loose Vietnam Open Beta Weekend. Hell Let Loose Vietnam is the successor to one of my favorite military games of all time, Hell Let Loose. This game uses the same simple gameplay mechanics with some added features in a whole new environment and age of weaponry. Gone are the days of everyone using bolt actions. Now we have the M16A1, baby. We'll be flying over enemy territory, blasting Fortunate Son or Flight of the Bumblebees like it's Bad Company all over again. This is an open beta, so please take all of my criticisms with a grain of salt. But with just over 2 weeks left until the game is released, I don't expect any drastic changes. Please enjoy this video and stick around to the end. Thanks for watching. The game starts out with a forced tutorial that everyone must play through. While I am happy with the tutorial, it can use some improvements. I like that they have separate tutorials for the platoon leaders and commander roles, and that they aren't all forced. I found that some of my friends that are newer to the game series had difficulties following along with the tutorials, especially the advanced ones. Overall, I think the tutorials are an improvement over the last games, and that it's a step in the right direction to making the game more accessible to new players. Communication is a crucial factor in this game, and whether it be between blueberries, squad mates, or others in command chat, this game allows for you to communicate with your team in so many ways. Want to RP in local chat? You got it! Need to make sure the specialist drops those supplies in the right spot? Squad chat it is. Need to yell at the other platoon leaders to play the fucking objective and build garrisons? Boy do I have a chat for you. Luckily, only the squad leads and commander need to use the command chat, so if you want a calmer, less talkative experience, then I would not recommend the leadership roles. The in-game communication is done so well in this game, and I don't know any others that do it better, other than maybe Squad. The settings where this game largely differentiates itself from Hell Let Loose. Gone are the days of wide open vistas and running along hedgerows. Now, the jungle foliage of Vietnam prevents long sight lines and camouflages the bush camper that hides inside every shrub. The weaponry in the game is also so iconic for the era. The American M16 and Vietnamese AK, and every other weapon, sounds so crisp. The helis flying over are deafening. The sound of Hell Let Loose is unmatched in any war game out there. Sadly, we only have one map available to us during this open beta weekend, but I love the environment they've sculpted with this one. You hear the tropical birds chirping with every inch that you take deeper into enemy territory. Was that a bird? An enemy footstep? A garrison or OP? Too late. You're dead. The realism this game provides with low time to kill, no health regen, and slower movement mean that this game is much more tactical than Battlefield, while still not being as complicated as Arma or Squad type games. It is usually the one who shoots first who wins most engagements. This causes the players to move slower and choose their shots rather than just charging in and dying. Although with the ticket system not being a thing in this game, dying isn't such a dire hindrance to the team. Unless your team doesn't have a proper Gary system set up, that is. Garrisons allow all players on a team to spawn on them unless the enemy team has overrun them or is currently dismantling them. They require teamwork to build, as you must first clear out the enemy from the contested area, have a support player, a vehicle, or the commander drop supplies, then you're finally able to place the garrison. This doesn't seem like too hard of a task, since a game can have more than 8 squads that can each have a support and platoon leader working together to place them. But it is usually left to 1 or 2 squads and the commander, hopefully, spending the entire game working to keep garrisons up for the rest of the team. A lack of garrison placement is sadly something that plagues the non-competitive HLL servers, and from what I've seen so far, has made its way to the new game. So here are a few tips. Never build a Gary in enemy territory unless you already have 2 in friendly territory for pushing, as well as 1 for defense in warfare. Once these garrisons are in place, you are now okay to place 1 garrison deep in the enemy territory for a flank. When you send your entire team on a flank, which happens when you place a garrison in enemy territory because people have no impulse control, then you lose all the front line of defense and are taking a massive gamble with the game, as it just went from a battle of attrition and tactics to who can capture the objective first. This cap race is a common thing to see in the game, with both commanders crossing their fingers that their team will win since they haven't placed any garrisons on the previous point. Also, be sure to place defensive garrisons off the middle of the point. What's the point of a garrison if you can easily be taken out with a single bombing run? Hide your garrisons off the point and try to prevent them from being placed in a grid pattern. Lastly, be sure to place garrisons 2 squares behind the enemy-owned squares. This prevents your defensive garrisons from being removed when the enemy takes over the territory. This is also a simple thing to remember, but is a golden rule that's broken in nearly every game I see. This is what causes double caps and the entire team to now have to rush out of spawn to build up the next hard point. Remember, we don't win games with luck. We win games with skill and garrisons. If you don't have max team garrisons up at all times, you're playing a losing game. Tunnels are an insane addition to the game. I believe they need to be nerfed in some way in order to balance the game. They allow the NVA to link tunnels and garrisons together and fast travel between them. This, combined with them being free to place with a 5-minute cooldown, and that the team is allowed 15 of them, means the US should stand no chance in defending against them. Luckily in the beta, people don't seem to realize their power and are not placing them near to the fullest extent allowed, but once they do, this game will be broken. I am happy to see that they have implemented new methods of transportation. You can't have a Vietnam game without Hueys, and they have definitely delivered. I don't feel like they'll be as invaluable as they are in games like Squads, since players aren't able to spawn on them unless they're at home base. With so many other ways to spawn, I don't believe they'll get as much use other than as airships with their mounted machine guns. Then you have boats. Now these are actually quite valuable, as they can transport and drop supplies the same as a supply truck. They also have a strong mounted machine gun at the front, which can be used to take out waves of infantry and even helicopters. This vehicle is sneaky good as they can allow for easier forward garrison placement and squad transportation. Also, when the engine is turned off, they can be used as mobile spawn points that can easily sneak up behind enemy lines if they aren't paying attention. Lastly, they also added swimming to the game. No more will the character walk to the bottom of the river and drown in 5 seconds. Now you can swim and even dive for short distances to avoid obstacles and swim past enemies. I've yet to make a sneaky swimming flank myself, as I'm still scared of water from the original HLL, but I'm sure that I've been killed plenty of times by others doing so. While the communication aspect of the game can be very beneficial and in some cases required, it also has its drawbacks. There's no shortage of racism in the local and command chat, and I don't see that going away as it did not in the original game. It's more noticeable in this game as people are using Asian accents over German. While yes, I'm sure the shtick is funny the first time you hear it, the constant on and on of it is pretty saddening. Then you have those who mute all voice chat in a team-based game and choose to rather talk to their friends in Discord. While this does work generally for those whose whole platoon is in Discord, other times it means the squad leader can't get the supplies they need, or warn teammates about incoming airstrikes and to get them out of the danger zone. I can't tell you the amount of times that the commanders yelled a platoon leader's name over and over for them to place a garrison that would win the game for us, with the supply sitting right next to them, only for them to run in and die. I beg you to please not mute the voice channels in this game. Even if you don't want to use your mic to talk to others, at least listen to orders. They could save your life. Also, while I do praise the tutorial of the game, I don't believe it's enough to get new players properly into the game. This game has an incredible learning curve for an FPS shooter, and there's nothing that can help these new players coming into the game like the community. If you're coming from HLL, take that platoon leader position if you're comfortable. Help those you can with guidance and politeness. Don't just bash people who don't understand what they are doing. Don't be an heir apparent. The game runs rather smooth for all the foliage and other models that are being displayed on the screen. I was getting decent frame rates when recording, especially after dropping all the settings to high. That said, my computer is better than most, and I was still getting around 60 frames per second. That works out okay for me, as I generally play the game with the map open 50% of the time. But for those not playing platoon leader or command, and purely focusing on the competitive shooting aspect of the game, this may not be enough frames. Also, understanding that this is a beta test, the servers were quite unstable in the games I played, with about a third of the games ending with a server crash. I'm sure server stability was one of the main focuses of the open beta this weekend, so I am hopeful that they'll use the information that they have gained to make improvements. That said, it's still quite frustrating to play over an hour of a match just to disconnect in the last 15 minutes of the game. The UI was also lacking in the beta. Some of the features such as friendly roll icons were not able to be adjusted, which caused the screen to be too busy. I looked through the settings and was unable to find a way to adjust the distance at which the icons were showed or their opacity. Hopefully this was just a setting that I missed when looking through, as it is something that was available in the previous game. So all in, based on my experience in the beta, I am happy with the state of the game so far and foresee a happy future. The dev team for HLL is always working to make the game better with patches, so I'm not worried at all about the small issues I ran into during my playtime. The Hell Let Loose community can be quite rough on new players, but I believe this new game will be a perfect time to jump into the series if it's something you've been wanting to do for a while. The gameplay is far different from the previous game, with custom loadouts, shorter sightlines, more automatic weaponry, and asymmetric team abilities. If the long runs around hedgerows and open environments of HLL were not for you, then please give Hell Let Loose Vietnam a try. Please consider subscribing, as I plan to release more game reviews soon. You never know which ones might interest you. Until next time.